This is Mr. Black Terror, and you've just stepped into the darkest corner of the internet. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? What hour of the night is it? And don't forget to share this video with anyone who laughs at horror stories. Let them hear what real fear sounds like. My name is Sheriff Daniel Harlow of Summit Creek, Montana, a town that disappears under snow every winter and doesn't show its real face again until April, when everything is white and quiet. You hear things you normally wouldn't. You notice things you normally ignore. And sometimes, the things that notice you back aren't human. The night it happened, the temperature was somewhere around -18 degrees Fahrenheit. My patrol SUV complained every time I pushed the accelerator. The town had lost power 15 minutes earlier, and the only glow came from my headlights cutting through the snowstorm. Dispatch had reported something strange, multiple calls from the same rural address, a cabin on Pine Ridge Road, but every time dispatch picked up, the caller stayed silent, just breathing. Slow, shaky, and not a woman's voice like the number was, registered to low, like someone forcing their lungs to work. And then each call would end. I'd been sheriff here for 7 years. Silent emergency calls happen, but dials happen. But this felt wrong, even before I pulled up to the property. The moment I stepped out of the SUV, I felt the wind slice through my coat like it wasn't even there. The snow blew sideways, needling into my face. The cabin sat at the edge of the tree line, everything around it swallowed in darkness. The porch light flickered weakly, struggling against the storm. Something about the place looked off. Maybe it was the way the snow around the cabin was disturbed. Not footprints, not tire marks, more like something had moved through the snow and dragged itself across the yard. My boots crunched loudly as I approached the door. "Sheriff's office," I yelled. "Anyone inside?" No response. I tried the handle. Unlocked. The warmth hit me immediately as I stepped in, but something was wrong with the atmosphere. Too still. Too warm, almost damp. My breath fogged despite the heat. "Hello?" My voice echoed in the small living room. "Ma'am? Sir? Anyone here need help?" Only the fire answered, crackling a little too loudly in the stone fireplace. Then I noticed the phone on the coffee table. It was still glowing. Call screen open. 911 dialed. Like someone had set it down mid-emergency. I scanned the room. Cozy space. Pine furniture. A quilt on the couch. A mug of something half-finished, still warm enough to steam slightly. Whoever lived here had stepped away only minutes ago. "Dispatch, I'm on scene," I whispered into my radio. "Phone's here." No visual on the caller. "Copy, Sheriff," the crackling voice replied. "Be advised, 3 more silent calls came through in the last 10 minutes. I felt a chill cut deeper than the weather, because the phone wasn't touched. I moved slowly down the hall toward the bedroom. The wooden floor creaked under my boots, but something else creaked back, following the rhythm. Like the house was responding to my steps. The bedroom door was half open. Inside, the bed was unmade, blankets tangled like someone had climbed out fast. And there in the middle of the floor was snow, a perfect circle of snow melting slowly on the wooden boards. I crouched down, touched the edge. Ice cold. Who or what was tracking snow inside a heated room? Something thudded lightly above me. The attic. I stood, heart pounding harder now. My hand hovered near my holster as I called out again. "Ma'am? Sir? If you're upstairs, say something." Silence. Until something shifted. A long sliding movement. Not footsteps. Not human. I found the attic ladder and pulled it down. Every instinct I'd ever learned told me not to climb up there. But duty is duty, even when fear tries to argue. I climbed. The attic was pitch black, except for one narrow line of moonlight leaking through a loose board. Dust hung thick in the air, dancing like ash. Boxes were stacked everywhere, Christmas decorations, old furniture. And then I saw them. Bare footprints in the dust. Not snow tracks, now footprints. Adult-sized. And they weren't walking normally. The prints were spaced unevenly, dragging, like someone kept losing balance. They led deeper into the attic, toward the far corner. I drew my flashlight, clicked it on, and followed. Sheriff's office. "I'm coming to help," I said, voice softer now. Controlled but tight. My light landed on a shape in the corner. A person. Back facing me. Knees drawn up. Head tilted sharply to one side like they were listening to something behind them. "Sir?" "Ma'am?" I stepped closer. "Are you injured?" They didn't move. I walked around to face them. And everything inside me went still. The woman, mid-30s, long brown hair, was sitting there with her eyes wide open. But they didn't track me. They didn't blink. They stared past me, at something that wasn't there. Her lips were blue from cold, like she'd been out in the storm for hours. But the attic was warm. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" And then her mouth opened. Very slowly. Very wide. Like her jaw was loosening from the hinge. A sound came out. One. I'm still not convinced a human throat can make. Deep. Vibrating. Like something imitating a voice it didn't fully understand. "Not me." I froze. Not because of the voice, but because as she spoke, a cloud of white fog rolled out of her mouth. And it didn't float upward like breath. It sank, heavy, thick, like cold smoke. I stumbled backward. Her body jerked suddenly like something pulled inside her, and she collapsed sideways. Eyes still wide. Mouth frozen open. Dead. A rush of icy air hit my ankles. I looked down. The fog, that thick white cold, was snaking across the attic floor toward me. Something inside, it was moving. I didn't think. I ran. Down the ladder, nearly slipping. I hit the hallway, slammed the attic door shut, and backed away. My pulse hammered in my ears. The doorknob turned. Once. Twice. Slow, testing strength. I reached my radio. "Dispatch, send backup to Pine Ridge now. Possible 10 to 54. But there's something else, something wrong with." A crash drowned out my voice. The attic doors slammed outward, wood splintering. A blast of freezing air exploded into the hallway, blowing out the lights. I shielded my face as the temperature dropped instantly, frost racing across the walls. Something was in that cold. I couldn't see it, but I could feel it moving, choosing, hunting. I ran for the front door. The wind behind me rose like a scream, sharp, furious. The temperature at my back felt like knives. I threw open the cabin door and dove into the snow. The cold outside was nothing compared to what followed. I heard the door slam behind me, not by wind, but like something pushed it shut. Hard. Then silence. The cabin went still. I got into my SUV, hands shaking so badly I almost dropped the keys. The engine struggled but finally roared to life. I drove until I saw town lights. I didn't stop. When backup arrived an hour later, the cabin was warm, peaceful. The woman's body was gone. No footprints. No attic damage. No frost. Nothing. Like the storm had swallowed the truth and smoothed the snow behind it. But that address kept calling 911 for the next 2 nights. Same eerie breathing. Same silence. No one lives there anymore. The property was bought by the county, boarded up, abandoned. But every winter, around 3 a.m., locals swear they see a flicker of light in the attic window. And sometimes, they say they hear a voice calling out from the woods. Not human. Not alone. Just cold. And searching. I was a sheriff's deputy in Rivendell County, Wyoming. Population small, winters brutal, and the kind of landscape that could swallow a man whole without leaving a footprint. My name's Deputy Cole Harlow, badge number 217. I've worked enough winters here to know that when the wind starts howling across the empty fields, something else seems to howl with it. Something older than this county, older than the first cabin built here. This happened 3 years ago. During a December freeze so cold, it felt like your bones might crack if you moved too fast. It was a Friday night, around 1:42 a.m., when dispatch radioed in a welfare check. A 911 call had come through. Just a whisper, a man saying, "It's standing outside my truck. Help," before the line died. GPS pinged from an old logging road up toward Carter Ridge, a place nobody had real business being in winter. I remember pulling my patrol SUV onto that road and hearing my tires crunch over ice so thick it popped like thin glass. The wind carried snow sideways, the trees groaning under its weight. My heater wasn't doing a damn thing, and my breath fogged the windshield even with the defroster on. The logging road narrowed until only one vehicle could pass. About a mile in, my high beams caught it, a red Ford F-150 parked crooked, driver's door hanging open, engine running, headlights pointed into the tree line. Snow whipped past the beams like floating ash. I stepped out, instantly hit by the kind of cold that makes you want to get right back in. "Sheriff's Department." I called out, but sound just died in the wind. No answer. I approached the truck. The inside lights glowed faintly, illuminating an untouched coffee in the cup holder and a pair of gloves on the passenger seat. In the snow next to the open door, I saw footprints. Bare footprints. Bare. Human. Feet. In -20 wind chill. At first I thought frostbite made me see wrong. But no, there they were. Clear, detailed toes pressed into the snow, leading from the driver's seat toward the tree line. I knelt, touched one, deep. Whoever made them wasn't running. They were walking slowly, carefully. I followed them with my flashlight. "Sir, if you can hear me, call out." The beam caught something on the bark of a tree about 15 feet in. Scratches, 4 long ones, gouged deep like someone dragged a metal rake across it. My gut tightened. Not a good sign. I kept moving along the track of footprints. They weaved between pines, deeper and deeper into the dark. The further I went, the more I noticed that everything was too quiet. No wind, no cracking branches. No sound at all, like the woods were holding their breath. I got about 70 yards in when the footprints suddenly stopped. Just ended. The last print was pressed deeper than the others, as if the person had been standing still. Or bracing. That's when I heard it. A single low exhale behind me. I spun, flashlight trembling in my hand, but there was nothing there. Just snow falling like dust and trees stretching into black. My radio crackled soft at first. "Yudi, hello. Come, B." The voice was so broken, it sounded like it came through a fan blade. Then it went silent. I turned back toward the last footprint. Something was now standing next to it. not a person, not a shape I could define. The snow just shifted there like a faint outline caused by heat rising off asphalt. An invisible shimmer. My body locked up. I couldn't move. Then the shimmer leaned forward slow, curious toward me. Every instinct screamed to run, but my legs were frozen. The temperature dropped harder, sharp needles pricking my skin even through my uniform. Then, in a whisper barely louder than my heartbeat, I heard, "Cole." My name in my ear. Not shouted. Spoken. I staggered backward, complete panic ripping through me. I raised my weapon even though I couldn't aim at anything solid. "Who's there? Show yourself." Nothing moved. The shimmer dissolved as if the snow swallowed it whole. I forced myself to turn back toward the road. I needed to retreat, no shame in surviving something you don't understand. As I moved, the trees creaked loudly, like something heavy shifted behind them. I didn't look back. I kept my light low, breathing through clenched teeth. When I broke through the tree line and reached the road, I finally saw the red truck again, and someone was sitting inside it. In the passenger seat. The gloves I'd seen earlier were now gone, and a man sat with his head turned toward me. But the way he sat was wrong. Too stiff. His chin lowered too far. His arm hanging like it had no bone inside. I approached slowly. "Sir, can you hear me?" No movement. I raised my flashlight to the window and felt my stomach drop. It wasn't a living person. It was the driver, Frank Dawson, age 46, according to the ID I later pulled from his jacket. His body was frozen stiff, frost covering his eyebrows and beard. Eyes wide open like he died in terror. But that wasn't the part that made me step back. His bare feet were blue, almost black. And on his chest, pressed into the ice, were 5 long markings. Not slices, not scratches, imprints, like something incredibly cold and incredibly large had rested its hand there. As I stared, the passenger window fogged from inside. But the body wasn't breathing. Dead bodies don't create heat. They don't fog glass. The fog formed one line, then another, then a curve, a shape, a crude smile, drawn from the inside. I stumbled away, slipping on the ice, scrambling toward my patrol vehicle. As I reached for my door, the radio exploded with static so loud I dropped the mic. Through the distortion, Frank's voice whispered, "It followed me. Don't let it follow you." I jumped into my SUV, slammed the door, floored it. My tires fishtailed on the frozen road, snow blasting against the windows as the forest swallowed behind me. Halfway back to the highway, the temperature inside the SUV plummeted again. I watched my breath swirl in front of my face. The dashboard lights dimmed. And in the rearview mirror, in the faint reflection of my back seat, I saw the snow shift like something was sitting there, barely visible. I didn't look again. I kept driving until I reached the station, where the warmth finally returned and the pressure behind me disappeared. The official report said Frank froze to death after getting lost. But his truck wasn't stuck. The road wasn't blocked. He could have driven out any time. And nobody could explain those footprints or the marks on his chest. I've never gone back to Carter Ridge since that night. But sometimes, on the coldest early mornings, when the world is quiet and the frost forms thick on the windows, I hear a slow exhale behind me, and I pray I never hear my name again. I've been the sheriff of Carbon County, Wyoming, for 10 years, and winter has a way of turning this place into something unrecognizable. Roads disappear under sheets of ice, fences vanish into white drifts, and sound. Sound travels differently. It feels heavier, like the cold stretches it before it reaches your ears. That night, January 18th, 2024, I kept replaying one sound over and over. The voice of a man who should have been dead for 18 hours. Dispatch woke me with the call at 2:27 a.m. Sheriff Hawley. Madison said, her voice trembling, "We just received a distress transmission." Weak, but repeating. Caller says he's Deputy Ron Harker. My stomach dropped. Harker had gone missing the previous morning while checking an abandoned cabin near the Medicine Bow Forest line. His SUV was found half buried in snow, driver's door open, footprints leading toward the trees, then stopping. No signs of a struggle. No trail. No heat signatures. Nothing. We'd searched until sunset. I'd been the one who called the search off, telling myself Harker must have gotten lost and hunkered down somewhere. But I knew the truth. In this cold, 12 hours without shelter is a death sentence. Yet here was dispatch saying he was alive, calling for help. What exactly did he say? I asked. Madison swallowed audibly. Just, "I need help. It's here with me." Then silence. Same message repeated twice. I didn't waste another second. I grabbed my keys, vest, rifle, and drove straight toward the forest road where his SUV had been found. Snow hammered the windshield like gravel. The storm that night was different, too quiet between gusts, like something was waiting to breathe. The only other person I trusted with this was Deputy Lane, a steady kid, ex-military, nerves like steel. He met me at the forest turnout. "You think it's really him?" he asked. "I don't know," I said. "But the transmission came from his badge radio ID. Those can't be spoofed." Lane frowned. "Unless someone took it off him." Neither of us said what we were both thinking. If the radio was removed, Harker was gone, dead, or worse. We followed the GPS ping deeper into the tree line. The signal was moving slowly, just a few meters every few minutes. That was the part that didn't make sense. As if whoever had the radio wasn't walking normally, but dragging itself. The forest was a maze of shadows. Every branch cracked under the weight of snow. The cold gnawed at us through 3 layers of thermal gear. After 20 minutes, Lane stopped. "Sheriff, look." A single set of footprints trailed ahead of us. Bare footprints. Not boots. Human feet, naked, pressed deep into the snow. No person in Wyoming walks barefoot in January. No one survives it. "They're fresh," Lane whispered. "No frozen edges." We followed, hearts pounding like hammers. The tracks led to a burned-down cabin. Only the stone chimney remained standing. A black skeleton against the snow. My radio cracked. "Sheriff Holla. Help, it's here with me." Harker's voice. Weak, broken, breathless. Lane looked at me, eyes wide. That came from inside the ruin. I raised my rifle. "We clear this slow. Stay on my shoulder." We stepped into the remains. Burnt wood crunched under our boots. The snow inside the foundation was disturbed, swept in strange circular patterns, like something had been crawling rather than walking. Then, I saw at Harker's badge light blinking faintly under a collapsed beam. "Harker!" I yelled, dropping to my knees. I lifted the beam just enough to pull the radio free. But the second I touched it, my entire body went cold in a way even winter couldn't cause. The radio kept repeating the message. But it wasn't broadcasting from the device. The message was playing from somewhere else, from deeper in the woods. The timing was off. This badge radio was dead. No battery. No light except that blinking LED. And even that wasn't normal. It flickered in a rhythm, 3 short flashes, 1 long. Over and over. Like a signal. A code. Lane stepped back, fear creeping up his face. Sheriff, those prints don't lead out. They only lead in. He was right. The barefoot tracks stopped inside the ruined cabin. No trail leaving, Harker. I called again. If you're here, answer me. The wind died completely, and then something answered. Not with words, not with a voice, but with a sound I still hear in my dreams. The sound of something exhaling inches behind my ear. Long, raspy, and wet, as if it hadn't taken a real breath in years. Lane jerked his rifle upward, pointing behind me. Sheriff, don't move. I froze. I didn't turn. I didn't breathe. I smelled it first. A metallic stench, like blood thawing. Then something shifted in the snow behind me. A slow, slithering movement dragging weight across ice. Lane's voice cracked. We need to leave now. I stood, every muscle screaming, and stepped back toward him. Lane fired a warning shot into the darkness. The muzzle flash lit the entire ruin for a split second. And in that flash, I saw something crouched in the far corner. It had the shape of a man, long limbs, shoulders hunched. But the face, I still can't describe it fully. The eyes were too deep. The mouth hung open, not from shock but from habit, like it had forgotten how to close. And its skin wasn't pale, it was blue, frostbitten, dead. Harker. Or what was left of him. The creature moved with a jerking twitch, as if bones were grinding where they shouldn't. It started crawling toward us, hands sinking into the snow. Lane grabbed my arm. Move! We sprinted into the forest, snow spraying behind us. I radioed for backup, but all we got was static. The forest swallowed every signal. Every sound except the crunching footsteps chasing us. But here's the part that still wakes me up at night. The footsteps didn't sound like one set. There were 2, one fast, one dragging. The dragging one kept repeating the pattern of the blinking badge. 3 fast, 1 slow. Step, step, step. Drag. We broke through the tree line and reached the trucks just as the sky cracked open with thunder. Lane and I jumped in mine, locked the doors, and sped out of there. When we finally got clear radio signal, Madison said something that still makes my blood run cold. Sheriff, the transmission you heard, the one from Harker? We replayed the raw file. Yes? I asked. It wasn't just him talking. There's a second voice layered under his. We isolated it. What did it say? She hesitated. Bring them. They never found Harker's body. Not a trace. Search dogs wouldn't go near the area. They whined, pulled their handlers back toward the road, shaking violently. Lane refuses to talk about that night. Last month he put in for a transfer, said he needed a place with less winter. I don't blame him. As for me, I still have Harker's badge. The LED hasn't blinked since, but last night, just after 3 a.m., I heard the badge radio crackle from inside my desk drawer. No words, just breathing. And the pattern of footsteps, 3 fast, 1 dragging.